So next move to talk about here actually happened a couple days ago. One of the top wide receivers who was in the portals off the market, Johntay Cook, former five-star recruit coming out, started his career at Texas, left the team midway through the season, and he's signing with Washington. It was obviously a rebuilding year with DeBoer headed to Alabama. And Jed Fish comes in there, but I think you started to see some of the signs of what they're trying to build there. A ton of the roster. It was a completely new team there, obviously. So Washington looks like a program who's starting to little by little rebuild that group into what it needs to be in terms of talent. And Johntay Cook is a great start there at the wide receiver spot.
Lot of juice with Johntay Cook. I remember watching him against UTSA, and he was like shot out of a rocket on some of those catches. 6 foot 185 from Dallas, Texas, DeSoto High School. Like you said, former five-star. He was on the freaks list for 247, 22 and 1 inch long jump, 42 and 11 and a half inch triple jump. Just a super explosive guy. He was expected to play a big role, but then you look at the guys in that room for Texas: Isaiah Bond, transfer, Matthew Golden transfer, DeAndre Moore, Silas Bolden, and then Ryan Wingo, the true freshman, coming in and doing what he did. But I think Matt Doherty and the crew in Washington and the recruiting department, Jed Fish, outstanding job plucking this player out of Texas. He's not a Pacific Northwest guy, so this was really a recruiting job. And you look at Washington's history, whether it's Jed Fish, who's there now, and of course, Coach McMillan at Arizona, going to be a first-round receiver this next year, and then you just look at the program of Washington and the great receivers they had before this new staff came in. There's a lot of receiver tradition to sell to Johntay Cook. Obviously, you're selling a much bigger role. We'll see how that quarterback situation unravels, at Washington. But I think the speed and explosiveness of Johntay Cook is going to be on display. And you've seen guys from these crowded rooms go elsewhere and make a huge, huge impact. Of course, the most prominent one would be a Jameson Williams going from Ohio State to Alabama and then becoming a first-round pick for Alabama. And you've seen him in the pros. He's one of the most dynamic players in the pros. I'm not saying this is that exact situation, but there's precedent for these crowded rooms losing some dynamic athletes. Maybe their route running or something is just not exactly up to par yet, so they're not getting the snaps they want. But then you put them on a team where they can kind of play through mistakes, and that explosiveness really, really plays up. Damon Williams, Jr. is a true freshman. He had his ups and downs, but I thought overall he was impressive to me. 76% completion percentage, 7.8 yards per attempt, 4 touchdowns, 0 picks. Did struggle with some sacks, but interesting guy. Young playmaker who could grow. And if you want to grow your young quarterback, the 5'11", 187-pounder from Chandler, Arizona, you give him some playmakers, and Johntay Cook is certainly that, especially for a young guy who wants to chuck it up or maybe throw screens, easier throws for him. A guy like this with that explosiveness is going to make it easy.
I was gonna. This is what I was gonna get to. You mentioned what a big recruiting win it was for Washington, and there was a lot of talk here in Florida that the Gators had an inside track on his recruitment. A lot of momentum for them this offseason with the way they finished the season. DJ Lagway, although he wasn't lighting the box scores up, his talent is evident, right? So you understand there's a lot to build there. But Florida finished really strong in terms of recruiting the wide receiver position. Obviously, Vernell Brown, Dallas Wilson was a late add there. I wonder if that had something to do with Cook going the other way.
I think it's a smart move by Cook. Jed Fish is an offensive guy, right? This guy was in the pros for many, many years, has a lot of success. Like, if you really look at, Williams to Cook, it's not. Williams is very similar to what Jed Fish had with Fafita and all the success he had. Cook is a different type of receiver than McMillan. McMillan is a tall, contested catch guy. Cook is a truly explosive guy. But you can see that's dynamic getting recreated here with two young players that can grow together with a play caller that knows what to do with them and less, of a crowd at receiver. Right. So I think that this is a fit that just makes a lot of sense for Cook. I thought it was a pretty smart decision for him. If you're going through your third year, you need the ball. You got to play, right? You got to play. You're going to be the Big Ten. You're going against great defenses. I like the fit. If he would have gone Florida, there would have been a lot of mouths to feed there. And even if he was the best guy, you're still going to get the ball to the other guys. Here, I think he's got a much clearer chance to be a prominent player with a guy that really knows what to do with top receivers in Jed Fish.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I mean, look, it's a situation where, like you said, it's year 3, man. Like if it doesn't work now, here now, then it's probably not going to work anywhere. So you got to go somewhere where you know you're going to be featured. And not to say he could have been that at Florida, but yeah, more mouths to feed.